one of the real advantages of having so much action in the states is that there are going to be options, more than Massachusetts. For instance, in Vermont, they're exploring a very important new waiver possibility in the Affordable Care Act called the Section 1332. And they're exploring that precisely because Vermont is looking at, and has actually already passed legislation, for Medicare for all sort of approach. California is talking about looking at 1332. There's a group of states in the Northwest that have, I don't know how serious it is, have talked about kind of a regional kind of public option idea. So when we come around to health reform again, it's going to be a robust agenda, and there'll be states you could point to and say, look, single payer worked here. The costs are lower, just the argument you made, lower administrative costs, and then there'll be still other options that are on the egalitarian side of the ledger.
Public options or co-ops.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so 2 points. Let me be stronger. There is simply no way we are going to get single payer at the national level in the near future. Now, we have empirical proof of that because Jacob Hacker thought of a very clever way to test this proposition, which is a public option, which is to say, let's put it on the table. We'll have private choice and public choice. If the Democrats are right and the public options, public's better to wipe out the private choices. The Republicans are right, the government choice will wilt. And both sides were afraid the other side was right, so neither side wanted it. And basically, the bottom line is there simply isn't support there. That said, I think it's very important, this comes to what was just said, it's very important to recognize the fallacy of something I frequently hear, which is, well, if Obamacare fails, next we'll go to single payer. That is absolutely backwards. Every single health reform effort moves to the right, okay? And basically, if you like single payer, then Obamacare has to succeed, okay? Because unless Obamacare succeeds, and unless we get these state experiments, like in Vermont and other things, single payer is never happening. So the notion that in some sense that there are people who oppose Obamacare because they want single payer, that is absolutely backwards. And I think that's very important to keep in mind.
Well, I want to say, though, that Obamacare succeeds means partly that people push in states where the door is more open, either for a single payer approach or for co-ops or public options that can demonstrate that systems that are not based on private health insurance can reduce costs more effectively. And this law has a lot of room for such experimentation and is soon going to have more. So it really offers the opportunity of creating what is the road by which single payer came to Canada. First it happened in provinces, and then it was nationalized.